Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting on February 4th, 2016. It is a little past 7 p.m. During the evening, and the reason we're a half hour late this evening, we have the moderators meeting at 6:30 to discuss and plan for the Monday evening special town meeting about Minuteman Vocational School District. So, that being said, again, welcome. First agenda that we'll take under this evening is to discuss the special town meeting on Monday evening. Now, this has been going on, some of you only a few short months. For us, the last 5 or 6 years. Ford Spalding, who's been Dover's representative on the Minuteman School District, is here this evening. Thank you, Ford, and thank you for all your help over the past 5 years. 7 years? It hasn't been 7 years, okay.
Since we've been in the MSBA process.
Time flies when you're having a good time, so that works out well. So what I thought we'd do this evening, since we're all well vetted on all the facts of the case, is that the Board of Selectmen will vote to recommend on the 3 articles that have been presented and will be presented to the town on Monday night. So let's just jump into the first article, which is to amend the current Minuteman agreement that's been around, I believe, for 36, 37 years.
Since 72.
And Dover has been one of the 16 town members to Minuteman, and this particular agreement might have been amended 2 or 3 times over the past, since its inception 40 years ago, but certainly since Dover has been in it twice, I believe. So the amendment Monday evening will be significant. I believe, Candace, you're going to speak to that Monday evening?
I am.
Thank you. Now, that being said, we're going to ask the voters of the town whether we should amend, whether they agree to amend the agreement. And with that, Candace, would you like to talk about it briefly?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Dolly. The new agreement for the Minuteman District is critical. We have had 16 member towns. Every one of the 16 towns have had veto power. And this has presented a very unwieldy governance situation. And this new agreement has finally come to the fore, where all 16 towns have worked together to come up with terms that all 16 towns can agree to pass. And it is that passing this agreement that gives us the option then of making a decision about either staying in the district, the Minuteman District, or exiting the district. And so in order for the towns to have that choice and to be able to move forward with a positive agreement, it is imperative that we, along with the other 15 towns, all looking at exactly the same article number 1, pass this agreement. That's what Monday night is about.
Very good, thank you for that. Robin?
I couldn't have said it better.
No, I couldn't have either, actually. Thank you. Well, that in mind, that was so well said, Candace. Would you like to make the motion on a recommendation for the town for Article 1?
I would like to move, Mr. Dolly, that the town of Dover pass Article 1, that we as the Board of Selectmen recommend that we pass Article 1 and approve the new agreement for the Minuteman District.
I hear a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for that one. We recommend that you vote yes to amend the Article 1, amend the agreement containing Article 1. Article 2 really then gets into the meat of Dover's participation in the Minuteman Regional Vocational School. And at the presentation, I know, Robin, you'll be presenting the financial aspect of what it means to stay in the district. Ford, I know you'll be presenting a short video that's been done on Minuteman and the students at Minuteman, but it was created by a Dover Sherburne student. Right. So, and then the warrant committee, specifically the chair, Doug Lawrence, will give the warrant committee's opinion.
Yes.
And then finally, I will speak to the abstract value of Minuteman to the town of Dover and its students. That being said, Robin, would you like to give a quick synopsis? Very quick, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. I don't want to fill or step on the toes of presentations from Monday evening.
Okay, so I'm going to try and be as concise as Candace. And so this article is for the town to decide whether or not we want to withdraw from the Minuteman region. And from a financial perspective, it is actually expensive to stay in the district. It's a little more expensive than participating outside of the district. However, there are other factors that need to be considered as well, and those are the options we have available to us as a town, whether or not we stay in, and then you need to look at the risk involved of leaving the district. So in a sense, I view staying in the district as an insurance policy. We know based upon estimates what the cost is to stay in. It is unknown to us what the future costs will be for alternative programs and whether or not those will be available to us. As a committee, we have done an extensive amount of due diligence. We have spent a lot of time with Minuteman, who has been very helpful getting us to understand the composition of the numbers. And we've spent time with the school committee asking them about the educational alternatives. And it's going to be a very difficult decision, I think, for the town to make. I don't think there is an overwhelmingly right answer. If you'd like me to tell you where I am on this position, this question
We'll
again.
go for recommendation
Right,
in a minute, but thank you for that. Candace, do you want to add anything?
I would add the piece that I have such respect for the high standards of our Dover Sherburne schools, and I believe that it would be a mistake to settle for less in our vocational affiliation.
Well said. We take our fiscal responsibilities very seriously here. And anytime asking the townspeople to spend real estate tax monies on anything, we consider it long and hard. And in this particular matter, it's been difficult for me personally because I recognize the excellence of the Minuteman program. They intend to build out a new campus, which will just enhance the educational experience. And it goes back to about 3 or 4 years ago when 2 families came in when we first started talking about this. One of them I recall, Mr. Hennessy, and I forget the other gentleman's name, I'm sorry for that. And it stuck with me all this time that their student who might not have excelled, and his father was very, very clear about this and very honest, his student might not have excelled in a curriculum such as the Dover Sherburne curriculum that was in place. And they looked at Minuteman and they said, you know, this is the place for him. And his son, I believe it was his son, excelled and loved it. Absolutely. And it always stuck with me how emotional this gentleman was about his family being able to go there. And I will not get in the way of a family having to go somewhere else because we can't let their child go to the vocational school of their choice to excel. And so that intangible is so important to me. It overrides the short delta between what we pay to be in district, versus and out-of-district tuition that we're obligated to pay anyway. So that's where I stand on this particular issue. The intangible of allowing a student and a family to get into this great program in the future outweighs the short money that the town would have to pay, and that's where I stand.
Well said.
That being said, I'll entertain a motion on Article 2. Robin, would you like to make a motion?
Sure, certainly. I would like to make a motion. Now, you have to get this right, right?
Yes, the vote yes or no part, yes.
Right. For the selectmen's recommendation of whether or not we would support the withdrawal of the town of Dover from the Minuteman Vocational School District.
Okay, so a yes vote would, if I'm correct, a yes vote on Monday evening withdraws Dover from the district. So you're.
So I just made the
Yeah.
motion, and so,
So the recommended no vote.
right.
Okay, good. I understand that, thank you. Does everyone understand that? It took me a while.
We are recommending a no vote.
We are recommending, well,
You are making a motion for a no vote.
Right, I would make a recommendation that we stay in the
Okay.
Minuteman
And
region.
I would second.
Very good, thank you for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for that. Now, that being said,
It's a good thing we had the dress rehearsal on
Yeah.
that one.
Article 3 is specific to whether if the town stays in the district, Article 3 would be dismissed and it's a moot point. Article 3, if the town decides to exit the district, would advise the Dover School Committee, is it the region or the local?
Local.
Thank you. I keep getting, okay, thank you. To negotiate and execute an intergovernmental agreement with Minuteman or any other regional school district.
Vocational,
Well,
right?
It does not say in the
Okay,
warrant article, it says regional school district
okay.
as authorized by a general law, which might have that in it, I'm not sure. So that being said, I think it's a necessary evil if the town votes to get out of the district, and not necessary if the a town votes to stay in the district. So I'll make the motion that if in fact the town votes to withdraw from the district, that we vote yes, and we would advise the school committee to negotiate and execute an intergovernmental agreement. And I hope that was eloquent.
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. That being said, do I hear a second on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for that. That wraps up our discussion and our recommendations for the 3 articles this coming Monday. I highly encourage at least 176 townspeople who are registered voters to attend. And the time of the meeting, Monday evening is?
7
7
p.m.
o'clock.
7
7
p.m.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Good. So be in the seats by 6:55, and the town moderator has promised that it will be a very efficient and quick meeting.
8 o'clock, you said we'd be
8
home.
o'clock.
Ford has something to add.
Ford, would you like to say something? before
Yeah, I
we close
really
this
would. And I
agenda?
want to thank the Board of Selectmen. Obviously, I thank you for your recommendation. But more than that, I want to thank you for the hard work that you've all put in on this subject over the years. And Carol Lisbon before you, who also participated in one of the study groups. So I really appreciate it. I want to thank the warrant committee for their work and what they've done, and a very difficult decision that they had to make. And I'm looking forward to having a presentation and discussion at the town meeting. I believe our superintendent will also be there. For a short time, we have 5 or 6 meetings that night, so he may be running off to another one. But so far, we've had Arlington, Acton, and who was it? So have voted to move forward. They only voted on approving the article. We think Concord is tonight. all will be done by about the 25th of this month. But I want to thank you very much, and I do want to encourage citizens to come to the town meeting, 175 registered voters. Please, as I said to everybody, bring 25 of your best friends to the meeting. So I think it's extremely important. It should only be an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And I also encourage people, bring children. You know, come in and register. They can be in the outside room if they want. Please come.
Good,
Thank
thank you
you.
for it.
Thank
Thank you for the words. Okay, well, let's go on to our next agenda item on, in front of us this evening. The next agenda item is to order and assign the 2016 annual town meeting warrant articles, and not to be confused with the special town meeting warrant articles we just discussed.
So we're
If
voting
you're
on these tonight?
confused, I understand why. Okay, yep, well, thank you for Ray and Dave and Lauren for providing this. Has anything dropped off since the last time we looked at this list?
No.
No? Has anything been added as far as dollar amounts or anything?
I don't believe so, Mr. Chairman.
I don't think so either. And I believe out of the 27 warrant articles for the first Monday in May, special, town meeting, 14 are
Recurring.
14 are recurring, and we have 13 special warrant articles.
And 2 of them are duplicative, because it depends on how you pay for the region.
Right. Right. Okay. To the extent we've discussed these in the past, we have no change to them. Certainly not a deletion. We wouldn't have an addition at this point because the warrant has closed. Preliminary dollar amounts have not changed. I don't believe it's necessary to state them again. David, do you think it's necessary?
No.
Okay, thanks. I do believe I saw it in the press last week, all our warrant articles. I thought I did, but I could be wrong. No? Maybe I was reading Sherburne's warrants, I'm not sure. So, that being said, I'm content with the articles as they are laid out in front of us right now. I don't know if there are any changes to this. Or David, do you suggest any changes?
I do not.
No.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. That being said, David, we need an official order and a signed vote.
We do.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll make the motion that will assign the 2016 annual town meeting warrant articles as presented this evening. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Kay Caney has to be home by 8, so I have to rush along, so I'm sorry. I'm a little behind schedule, but I'll make it.
Don't worry, he always does.
The next agenda item is to execute the March 1st, 2016 presidential primary warrant. Okay. On Tuesday, first day of March 2016, from where the polls will open at 7 a.m., the polls will close at 8 p.m., and we'll have the voting this year, precinct 1, which is that.
Was that a joke?
Well, I think there was talk a couple of years ago, we might have to go to 2 precincts. The United States Census dictates that.
Oh,
So this year, it's just precinct 1, where all those concerned. So that they will be voting for the president, state committee man, state committee woman, town committee, yeah,
Town committee.
yeah.
Yeah, 4 things.
Okay, so we just vote to approve and execute.
And excellent.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we vote to approve the Secretary of the Commonwealth's, Secretary Galvin's notice to the town about the primaries on March 1st.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We all have to
Again,
sign.
precinct 1. I just like saying that.
It's great.
For the record, that's the townhouse, Mr. Chairman. Precinct one is the townhouse.
Precinct
That was
1,
the
Dover
firehouse.
Townhouse.
It's the firehouse. If you could sign all 3, please.
Thank you.
I just made up 3 minutes, Kate. 3 minutes on that one.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is a very special one, actually, and where we have Chief Jay Hughes retiring in April of 2016, which is a mandatory age retirement, and he served the town in a number of capacities over the last 50 years, which is unbelievable, given that he's only 51 years old. And that's what he told me, so I'm
I
not sure
thought he
of
was
that.
29.
So it's sort of, it's nice. I like to get involved in the appointment of new police chiefs. In this particular moment, it's an appointment of the part-time fire chief. And so we received, actually Felicia Hoffman, our town clerk, received a notice on yesterday, I believe it was, that at the February 2nd, 2016 meeting, the Board of Fire Engineers appointed Craig Hughes to serve as the fire chief of the Dover Fire Department. Excellent. And a little backstory to that, obviously, is when, obviously Craig is our superintendent of streets, has been lieutenant
Deputy.
and deputy in the fire department, and holds positions right now. But in Massachusetts, the general law sort of dictates whether someone can have a couple of jobs in the town. So, David, thank you for doing all the legwork and finding out whether this is ethical, and which it is. And so we have all that in our package from the State Ethics Committee, saying that it is.
We have a formal opinion.
Formal opinion from Fairley and Brown. That's great. So, that being said, good. So, I will, do we have any comments before I go into the motion for this?
I do not.
I think it's wonderful.
Great, that's as well said as anything. So let me make the motion for the appointment of a part-time fire chief. To approve pursuant to General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20F, the request of the Board of Fire Engineers to exempt Craig Hughes' interest in the part-time fire chief position from the prohibition of General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20, and to authorize Craig Hughes to serve as fire chief under the direction of the Board of Fire Engineers, provided that the Board of Fire Engineers first certifies to the town clerk that the services to be provided by Craig Hughes as fire chief cannot be performed by a current fire department employee as part of his or her regular duties. That's the motion to appoint Craig. Do I hear a second, or do I hear discussion on that
Second.
motion? I hear a second, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Craig, congratulations. Tremendous move for you and the town. I know you served the town very well. Thank you, the Board of Fire Engineers, for that selection also. And again, Jay, thank you for 50 years of great service. Okay. We made a motion, nothing to sign on that, Dave?
Nope, just a vote.
Excellent. 7:25, right on schedule. She's looking at me. Oh, we're back to the Minuteman. My next agenda item is approve the Selectmen's fiscal 2017 operating budget, Department 602, which is the Minuteman Vocational School. And these new numbers are numbers we didn't have.
This is a budget we didn't have before. We didn't have the assessment for a minute. We have it now, and so it's reflected there.
That is great. And this represents 2 students?
Yes.
I think so. I believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, I'll vote on this contingent that it is on 2 students, because if it's one, I'd have an issue. Unless there's forethought to covering capital allocations.
This is straight
This is
assessment.
Strictly
This
assessment.
is just the
student.
assessment.
Thank you for that. Okay, any thoughts on this, Candace or Robin?
No.
No, I don't.
Okay, then I'll make the motion that we approve the Selectmen's Budget, Department 602, Minuteman Vocational School for fiscal 2017, in the amount of $91,149. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for that. Okay, next agenda item is to approve the revised, okay, I'm gonna just dump that. Yes, I did. Excuse me. Approve the revised selectmen's fiscal 2007 operating budgets. The first one is Department 911, and Norfolk County Retirement. Let's discuss that one. Who can speak to this? So,
Mr. Chairman,
please.
in the preliminary budget, the treasurer forecast the 10%. The actual assessment came in at 10.28%, so it's just a revision in the math.
So, 2.8,
0.2?
yeah, 28% of 1% increase.
Yep.
28% of 1%. Good. Okay, I get that. Just had to get it out of my mouth. Thank you, and that's from, when he came up with this number, is that from a new actuarial table, or how is that calculated?
No, it's from the old actuarial, the most recent actuarial table, but based on a formula that looks at payroll at a certain point in time. The 10% was just on the district-wide assessment, but it varies by individual community based on their weighted percentage of payroll at a particular point in
Right.
time.
So it's linear math. Very good, thank you. I have no other comments on that. Robin or
I do not
Candace?
either.
Very good, then I'll make the motion that we approve the revised Selectmen's operating budget for Department 911, the Norfolk County Retirement Fund, in the amount of $1,129,266. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Very good, thank you. And lastly, we have another revised Selectmen's budget, Department 751, maturing debt interest. And Dave, you read this yours also, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is a reflection of the actual band sale.
Yes,
At the time it was forecast, it's up slightly because interest rates are up.
okay, but it's still down over the previous year.
No, it's
Right.
actually up.
I'm looking at, I was looking at the adjusted 16 budget.
I know, I was making the same mistake.
Yep, good. But it's still very, very reasonable. I don't have any comments on this because this is an actual cost.
Right.
That isn't something we can negotiate
Nothing
on
we can
and
do about it.
Candace, anything?
No comment.
No? Robin?
None.
I'll make the motion that we revise the Selectmen's budget, Department 751, maturing debt interest, in the amount of $281,550. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good, thank you. That finishes up the agenda items on Selectmen's budgets. Next agenda item is to appoint a Council on Aging van driver. And a little backstory on that, the Council on Aging and actually the town of Dover entered into a lease with the MWRTA, I was about to say, but it's, what is the initials for?
It is the
that's
MWRTA.
right. I was thinking water. The second I said W, I'm thinking water.
You got it right.
MWRA, for the purpose of providing a van for the use, and only the use by the Council on Aging in the town of Dover. And with that, the town is reimbursed dollar for dollar of all that lease cost, including the driver's cost. And that was great. We worked on that a couple of years, and it came to fruition about 9 months ago, I'm thinking, where the van came into service. And we had hired someone at that point That individual moved on, I'm going to say a couple of months ago, and since then, we've been trying to replace it. And tonight's action will be to replace that particular person and get the van running again, so that's great. And who can speak to this particular, who would like to get on TV?
I can.
Okay. I'm sick of my voice, that's why you get to talk.
Thanks. Yes, so we put out an advertisement and we had one applicant. That applicant is an existing town employee, Mike Mitchell, and he works down at the transfer station. So we had a discussion with the Council on Aging Director because we wholeheartedly recommend him based on his work to date and his interest in this particular position. And she agreed that it would make sense, since he works Wednesdays at the transfer station, to start him out on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a maximum of 16 hours a week. And so we are recommending him this evening. And if the board were to appoint him, we would also ask the board to make him a special municipal employee, as is required, since he would be
Have a
in
dual
two
function.
positions. That's correct.
Thank you, Dr. Griff. Thank you, Griff, for that. Is there specific language in our motion for the special municipal employee, or we just, oh, thank you. Glad I asked. Okay, so, thank you. Before I,
Do you want somebody else to read it, since you're sick of your voice?
yeah, would you like to? Thank you.
Oh, I was going to have Candace do it, but that's okay. I move to approve pursuant to General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20B, the exemption of Michael Mitchell's interest in providing van driver services for the Highway Department for the prohibition of General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 20, and to authorize Michael Mitchell to provide van driver services under the direction of the Highway Department, provided that the Superintendent of Streets first posts a public notice of the opportunity and thereafter also certifies to the town clerk that services to be provided by Michael Mitchell as van driver cannot be performed by a current Highway Department employee as part of his or her regular duties. Do I have a second?
I usually say that, just so it's okay.
You can say that.
Thank you for that motion. Do I hear a second?
I was on a roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Just Jim only.
You need to sign
No,
these.
just, okay, one signature on it. Thank you.
This is a very nice pen, by the way. Do you want to
More
try
than two
this
copies?
pen?
Sheets, yes,
It's
please.
really nice.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Robin, for that. May I have this?
You may.
David, you want this back? The language on the motion? Thank you very much. Next agenda item is appointments. I do not have any. Does any- Oh, Robin, do you have any appointments?
I do not.
No? Dave, you have an appointment?
Do, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I'm pleased to recommend Carol Weidman. She has agreed to accept reappointment for a period of time, 3 years, effective July 1st, 2015.
That is actually very, very good news. She's a wonderful employee in this building. Wonderful. And I think there'd be a great void if, obviously a short-term void, hopefully, but there would be a void if she decided to.
Certainly would.
Thank you for that recommendation. I'll make the motion that we approve Carol's appointment. Do I hear a
Second
second?
it.
Second? All in favor? Aye. As far as appointments, Dave, do we have anything, sort of the recurring appointment stuff?
I believe I'm up to date, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
thought so. I thought we were
So
pretty sure
artfully to me.
appointment-wise.
You are. I think positions that you may not have been able to fill, there's open ongoing. I think
Right.
perhaps Council on Aging.
And there's
May have
also,
one. Conservation Associate Member perhaps, and the Conservation
Right,
Commission
there's a couple of them.
Yeah, they posted for it, so.
Good. Thank you for that.
also the Highway Committee for Roads. I got the name wrong.
Oh, Finance Committee on
Finance
Roads.
Committee for
Finance
Roads.
Committee.
We have a vacant seat.
Okay, thank you for that, Dave. Next agenda item is the police detail write-offs. And sporadically, I don't believe this is certainly an annual situation when we talk about write-offs, but sporadically, we have to deal with write-offs on, for the, not to the town's benefit, but off the town's books, that we feel are uncollectible. In this particular item this evening, Chief McGowan has sent us a memorandum asking for write-offs of uncollectibles. And the specifics, Dave, you want to speak about the specifics rather than?
Certainly,
reading the
Mr.
letter?
Chairman. So there are three uncollectible invoices. One is from a defunct private entity that had hired a police detail on some construction work. The Native Mall went belly up, so we were never able to collect. And then regrettably, two of the invoices are to our own highway department, and they were inexplicably not paid. There was an internal mistake or oversight. I don't know where it was. We had tried to, this was in connection with some Chapter 90 work, so we had tried after the fact to get MassDOT to consider reopening the project to pay.
Yeah.
That didn't work out either, so we're recommending this be written off because there's no way to pay it now.
Okay, I understand that one.
As
Now,
the
those
chief-
two, I understand those.
As the chief indicates in his memo, we're doing a much better job in recent years of approaching perfection in terms of collections.
I can see that, because I remember the first one, a number of years ago, there was a long list associated with this uncollectible.
Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation, because I was curious about fiscal 12 bills. And the last one being a third party that's uncollectible. But they all add up to approximately...
$2,218.72.
Oh, good, thank you.
Approximately.
Approximately 2,200. Good, I'll make the motion that we vote to approve the town accountant to write off $2,218.72 as uncollectible pursuant to the request of Chief McGowan, our police chief. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye, very good, thank you. Nothing to sign other than that, good. Okay, as we move right along, well in advance of the scheduled
Oh,
agenda.
you made up some time here.
The next agenda item is to approve the January 21st, 2016 open session meeting minutes. And this particular open session was to discuss, once again, the Minuteman Regional School District. We also talked about
In detail,
yep,
the annual town.
the annual town meeting warrant articles, the revolving fund of the COA, which made a lot of sense. I have no changes. Mona, excellent meeting minutes, thank you very much for that. I have no changes.
Me neither.
Then I'll make the motion to accept the January 21st, 2016 meeting minutes of the Board of Selectmen as written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. One of my favorite agenda items. We have two citizens in the who've stick around this evening is citizens' comments. And I'll open the floor to citizens if you'd like to make a comment.
Mr. Chairman, I have no citizens' comments this evening.
Wow, okay. Kate, really, other than that. Then, prior to adjournment, or the motion for adjournment, I'd like to thank everyone for attending tonight, first the moderators meeting, then our meeting, and listening to our reasoning on our recommendations for the three articles for this coming Monday evening. To that point, no one gets to vote on anything Monday evening if at least 175 people don't show up. Obviously it starts at 7 o'clock, but please get there.
I
So
think
that's my comment.
it would be an embarrassment to the town if we're the one town out of 16 that can't get a quorum to actually vote on the amendment.
Now, if in fact there is not a quorum, so everyone knows, there is sort of a rain date, and that is...
A snow date.
February 22nd.
22nd. So if you don't show up Monday night, this issue doesn't go away. We have another special town meeting scheduled for February 22nd. That being said, thank you. If there are no other citizen comments, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second that. You looking at me?
Yes. All in favor? Aye. Again, thank you very much and good night.